Cage, an ordinary university professor, facing the challenges of midlife crisis, enjoys family happiness but is haunted by a sense of unease. During breakfast, his eldest daughter talks about her dream where she was thrown into the clouds by a mysterious force while her father remained indifferent, watching her face danger alone. Although just a dream, Cage is troubled, especially by his perceived callousness, and it's the third occurrence of such dreams. Arriving at the school, Cage elaborates on the subtle connection between disguise and concealment in the classroom, using the example of zebra stripes not providing extra protection but allowing them to blend into the group. He passionately lectures without capturing the interest of his students. Cage, with his easygoing temperament, merely reminds them of class discipline. After work, Cage meets an old friend for dinner. She seems to recognize him from somewhere. Cage doesn't think much of it at the time. The old friend presents a paper on natural camouflage, which catches attention as he notices plagiarism of his own arguments. He straightforwardly asks the friend to add his name to the paper, leading to a heated argument and an unpleasant parting. In the evening, Cage and his wife attend a play at the theater. Feeling disheartened, he loses interest in the performance. As they are about to leave, he unexpectedly encounters his ex-girlfriend at the theater entrance. Her eyes reflect a mix of excitement and surprise because he has been appearing frequently in her recent dreams, always standing by idly, such as when she dreamed of her friend having a car accident and Cage maintained that dumbfounded expression at the scene. She invited him to meet up another day to catch up and help each other navigate their emotions. His wife, though trying to conceal it with an awkward smile, harbored a sense of displeasure towards Cage. Back at home, tensions arose between them. His wife suspected ulterior motives from the ex-girlfriend, given their age. Cage had to continually reassure her, finally dispelling her concerns. The next day at noon, Cage went to the coffee shop for the scheduled meeting. His ex-girlfriend expressed her desire to write an academic paper on dreams and psychology, focusing on this unique phenomenon. The portrayal of Cage as a seemingly inept character in her dreams was somewhat embarrassing. Cage reluctantly agreed. As time passed, Cage noticed that classmates often discussed him appearing in their dreams. Cage even asked the school principal if he had dreamt about him, but the answer was negative. Cage thought he might be overthinking, but a strange turn of events followed. A friend called to share a bizarre story. During a recent gathering, a colleague frequently dreamed of a middle-aged man. Cage's old classmate, excitedly sharing similar experiences, revealed that the person in the dreams was him. The colleague, upon seeing Cage's photo, was astonished because Cage was the exact person she dreamt about. This phone call left Cage stunned, causing him to faint on the spot. Upon regaining consciousness, the situation had worsened. Due to his ex-girlfriend's article, numerous strangers flooded his social media, sending direct messages to inquire if he was a real person. Apparently, they had all dreamt of Cage. This incomprehensible phenomenon turned Cage into an overnight internet sensation. As Cage returned to the lecture hall, he has become the celebrity in the school. The enthusiastic applause and cheers from the students brought a fresh wave of excitement to Cage. Immersed in the newfound celebrity, Cage treated the classroom like a fan meeting, encouraging students to share their dreams. One male student dreamt of eating strange mushrooms in a desolate forest. With everyone around him frozen in time, suddenly, a monster lunged at him, and in terror, he sought refuge behind a tree. In this life-or-death moment, Cage walked by indifferently. The student, desperate for help, found Cage utterly unconcerned. Another female student experienced an earthquake, and Cage walked numbly past, while someone else dreamt of being trapped by two alligators, and Cage inexplicably appeared and disappeared. Embarrassingly for Cage, none of the dreams depicted him intervening. Classmates continued to share their dreams, portraying Cage as an emotionless machine, completely devoid of any sense of involvement. As time passed, Cage's popularity did not wane, instead, it continued to soar. Even his family became the focus of public attention. One night, as the whole family slept, an unfamiliar man armed with a knife broke into Cage's bedroom. Expressing his breakdown, the lawyer admitted that similar incidents might happen again. The situation was spiraling out of control, and the lawyer recommended that Cage purchase a life insurance policy for the entire family, as the development seemed increasingly difficult to manage. However, things quickly took a turn, as numerous businesses saw an opportunity and approached Cage, attempting to leverage his presence in dreams for advertising. If Cage could appear in everyone's dreams with the image of a product like Sprite, it would bring incalculable commercial value to the brand. Passionate planning teams painted various scenarios, but Cage didn't want to be just a traffic-generating internet celebrity. He was a legitimate university professor with a dream of publishing books related to his research. However, everyone was more interested in Cage's dreams, showing no interest in his books. In a half-hearted compromise to Cage's boring request, after the meeting, the female assistant invited Cage to a tavern and revealed that she had a shameful dream. This time, he wasn't indifferent but engaged enthusiastically in a deep conversation with the woman. The assistant admitted that since that night, she had developed a special fondness for the unseen Cage and looked forward to his assistance in recreating her dreams. The eager Cage did not refuse, and he obediently followed the assistant home. To immerse himself in the atmosphere, she changed into the same clothes she wore that night. However, unlike in the dreams, the real-life Cage was stiff, unable to loosen up. The encounter ended before it even began. He had no idea that things were rapidly taking a suffocating turn for the worse. His old classmate escalated the plagiarism, stealing Cage's paper and publishing it. A female student pushed open her door late at night, finding the professor waiting outside, requesting a conversation. However, once in the same room, Cage's demeanor changed instantly. Faced with the student's mockery, Cage resorted to physical violence. In another dream, Cage used a hammer to smash a student's head. The next day, Cage entered the classroom, finding only a few students lingering at their desks, clearly affected by the nightmare from the previous night. This phenomenon surprised and perplexed him. Cage felt that the students were overreacting. In response to Cage's dissatisfaction, the principal assured him that they would ensure the students' mental well-being. In the evening, his wife joined him for dinner at a classmate's house. Throughout the meal, his wife never looked up at him. The atmosphere grew more somber, and his wife decided to break the ice by asking about his work. To her surprise, this led the hostess to become emotionally agitated. It turned out that his wife was also a victim in the dreams. In the midst of the awkwardness, the old classmate explained the situation and was ultimately ruthlessly shown the door by the hostess. To help students quickly overcome the shadow cast by Cage, the school arranged for a counselor to provide public counseling. However, no matter how the teachers guided and communicated, students couldn't suppress the internal fear when encountering Cage. One female student immediately fled, and the remaining students followed suit. The deliberate distancing gradually evolved into irrational provocations. Students vandalized Cage's car with insulting graffiti, and Cage's anger was captured on video. Under pressure from the students, the principal decided to put Cage on leave, and his daughters were deeply affected by the negative online reports. His wife was also removed from a project, and the family's life was entangled in the consequences. As negative reports continued to escalate, Cage found himself at the center of online bullying. Cage realized he had become a pariah. He bravely went to a restaurant for a meal, but people didn't want to see him there. When the waiter asked him to leave, Cage was shocked, as he had done nothing wrong throughout. A bald man approached to drive him away, and Cage refused, only to be spat on openly by the man. When his wife came to pick him up, Cage had a new scar on his face. The once peaceful family life had been turned upside down by Cage's dreams. His wife suggested Cage apologize to end the turmoil, but Cage insisted he had done nothing wrong, causing a rift between the couple. At night, Cage dreamt of running on a deserted street, an arrow mercilessly piercing through his arm. Faced with a distant hunter, he could only flee frantically, but the second arrow quickly struck him. Cage cried uncontrollably. As the hunter approached, he was astonished to find that the hunter was himself. The eldest daughter's stage play was approaching, yet parents demanded the school forbid Cage from attending. Finally fed up with the absurdity, Cage opened his computer, recorded a video pouring out all his grievances and helplessness, and apologized to everyone. However, this action only further humiliated his family. In the end, Cage and his wife separated, and he moved into the basement of a friend's house. The chaotic environment and noisy fluorescent lights made Cage feel anxious and agitated. Disregarding warnings, Cage arrived at the school theater where his daughter was performing on stage. Upon seeing Cage, the teacher prohibited him from entering, but in the midst of the struggle, the door's switch accidentally caught the teacher's finger. This scene solidified Cage as the devil from the nightmares, and he personally ruined his daughter's performance. As time passed, Cage gradually disappeared from the public's dreams, as if he had never appeared in anyone's dreams. Scientists developed a technology based on this experience. With a simple wristband, people could easily enter others' dreams. To shake off the troubles, Cage and his family moved to France, where he and his wife reconciled. However, all of this was just his dream. In reality, to alleviate his inner turmoil, Cage also used the dream wristband. Unexpectedly, many people intruded into his dreams, causing him great distress. But in the dreams, he finally hosted his own fan signing event. Even though the content of his books was significantly reduced, and the titles were less than satisfactory, his dream finally came true. Unfortunately, he and his wife could only reunite in dreams. This time, he appeared in the form his wife fantasized about, only to disappear in her dreams again. It seems that he could only live on in his wife's dreams.